Good morning. Good morning. How's it going, everybody? Looks like we're going to get the Santa rally that we much very well deserve. How's everybody doing this bright morning? I was so excited I could barely sleep last night. I couldn't wait to see what the CPI numbers brought. Looks like inflation is a little less than we anticipated. So hence the rally. I'm not again, not to be critical of whatever's going on with the markets, but we'll trade the charts and not have opinions. So let's leave it at that. Good morning, Kyle. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Yasser. Jay says, I see green on the screen. Yes, there is lots of green today. Let's get this rolling, you guys. We are live on YouTube, so YouTube land, if you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to type it in. All right, here is Qs on the weekly. And for today's purpose, we are going to need some longer term moving averages to see exactly where we are and what we can do today. So on the futures, we are up roughly about 4%. I don't know if anybody here experienced a halt compared to me. I experienced a halt and then looked up and NASDAQ was halted. The futures were halted, just the Qs. I don't know why. Because I thought the halt comes in at 7%. I'm not sure. But I don't know what happened here. It was halted. My screen was frozen for a little bit and then just came right back. So maybe the bid and ask was getting really, really wild. I did get filled at 12,300 for a quick scalp short, and I'm going to write it down to the 15-minute 10 EMA right here. I don't know if that's going to be a realistic thing, but you know, I am selling really high and buying back really low as I could possibly can. So I am filled on that currently. I don't know how that's going to go, really, honestly. This thing could just skyrocket in no time. But my stop is in a decent place. My stop is just 10 points above this. So we'll see. We shall see. Widget says, good morning out there. How's it going, everybody? Okay, let's look at a chart Widget through, and he is going long. 12,200 to 12,500 is his target. No, he's going short. Okay, cool. So now I feel great. All right, awesome. Yep, going short. Okay, I am in this trade on AMD, and I think I am going to get, well, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get stopped out unless the markets take off and go bananas. I do think that some fade at open is valid because a lot of these gaps, so I was looking at Amazon, which is a retest gap. I had a hard time finding where this guy was. I was looking somewhere down here and I'm like, where is Amazon sticker? But it's up here, pre-market. It is a retest gap, so we might see some sort of a pullback and then a rally up. So I am looking for a fade, honestly, right at open. If we could get that, that would be nice. And then a continuation. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just had some sort of continuation for a little bit, then got a fade. But eventually, I will be looking for a fade to make back for the losses on AMD. So we shall see. All right, let's go look at the Qs real quick. Qs daily, we're gapping up above this guy right here. I believe that is the 100 SMA. What does it look like on the weekly? Weekly, there's not much along the way. And I just, for 1 second, I want to look at the monthly real quick. The monthly, let me get rid of the fibs here. All right, currently there's not much along the way until 300. So that's still okay. All right, okay, cool. Let's look at it on the weekly again. Yeah, nothing along the way until 309 for the weekly, and daily, let's look at that. 303 right here. Okay, cool. Just to keep an eye on some of the longer term levels. Let's go look at SPY real quick. I'm just making sure in case we take off, I know that there's nothing along the way stopping it, or I'm not being front ran by some of these longer term moving averages. On SPY, we are above all the moving averages, but we are gapping into some sort of resistance right here. Let's look at it on the weekly level. Weekly, we have the 50 SMA right here on SPY currently. So that's going to be a little bit problematic. Let's just make sure it is the 50. Yeah, it is the 50 SMA. That's going to be a little bit problematic for the weekly on the SPY. We are gapping into this trend line right here, and on the daily, we are gapping into resistance. So SPY might be a clean cut short at open. We should see, or a fade at open, to say the least. We should see what comes about. And it is a retest gap. It's not a gap and go, so we should be able to. Plus, it's a Marubozu candle. So yesterday, that means everybody that was buying, they were buying all the way till the end. Nobody was selling. I mean, if we had a wick on top, it would mean that people were selling, something like this. There were, it got to the high and people were selling at the high. Currently, yesterday, nobody was selling. So what happens when you wake up to a massive gain? Your entry was, let's say, 398, and you've gotten to 410 at open. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to take some partials, right? You're going to take some profit because that's a pretty decent target. So I think that's what's going to happen today. At open on SPY, we're going to see some sort of a fade come in and then maybe a bounce off a 402-ish level, and maybe we continue on higher. That's just my personal feelings and personal plan on how I'm willing to play these things. I am willing to fade these things at open. So we shall see. Faye says, pre-market cues rejected off of the monthly 10 EMA. Pre-market cues. And let's go look at the monthly. They got to 300, Fizz? $301. Let's go look at some extended time frames. 301. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, cool. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. So we are getting some sort of rejection off of, when all things have kind of sort of tapped out, we got to go look at some larger term time frames. And this is a pretty decent level of resistance on the monthly chart. So let's see what happens to SPY and the cues around those levels. I wouldn't be opposed to doing a short over here if anybody wants to attempt it. I am in at 12,300. And my reason to go in short was just because we were so extended, some pullback is due. So I got filled, I think, somewhere over here. But again, if I get stopped out, I'm okay with it. I think the odds of that happening are a tiny bit less right at open. I think we might have a pullback first. So yeah, I have 2 MNQ contracts that I'm filled on. So if anybody wants to take a look at it, definitely feel free to look at it. Yeah, if we open high enough, yeah, that would be cool. Dave says, if you have a debit spread, say SPY 291 by 296, is it best to close out on open or wait for 296 to lose value? So you have a put debit spread, right, Dave? A call. So you have a bull call spread then. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be maxed out. So I would just close it out. You're going to be delta capped, as in there's only so much you can make, right? So then you're going to be maxed out. So I would just close it out. Plus the volatility at open will be so much that I think it's in your best interest to just close it out. Okay, cool. All right, so we've looked at SPY and we've looked at Qs. Let's see what happens next on some of the other tickers that we like to look at every single day. All right, let's go look at Apple. Apple pre-market is at 150. I genuinely dislike bull days because the move is just it's either very quick and then the rest of the day we're just spending looking at charts and waiting for setups, or it just takes forever. Their moves are rather much more interesting, at least in my opinion. So yeah, always a disappointment when I come in and there's a massive gap up. It's just as a trader. I mean, again, for the whole economy, I am truly happy. But even on Apple, I think, this trend line is still being respected. The trend within the trend kind of thing, there is this big trend and there's a smaller pennant pattern happening right now. And Apple is gapping right into it. Now, if it were to take off and let's say go up to here and then get rejected, I'd be down to take a fade on it. But even otherwise, I mean, the majority of these gaps are retest gaps, right? So we got to be open to having a fade. I think, in my opinion, I think at open, we might go a little tiny bit higher. So we might put in something like this. Come back and retest this gap and then go higher. I don't know. But that's how I feel about this. I feel like at open, if we trap some bulls, that's going to be where the money is. Because some bulls are going to come in and go, oh my God, it's a pretty bullish day. Let's go bullish. And then get trapped. And then the bears will jump in and possibly push it back down to retest a certain level and then go higher. So, and I don't think everything's going to come back to yesterday's low. I think at certain point, right around here, we might actually get bought up again. So don't expect like a full complete retest. This is a pretty strong move up, guys. So I think at open, we might see some profit taking and come back down and then continue higher. So don't be afraid. Greg says, in other news, water is wet. Yay! AMD. All right. I am really mad because I had the chance to get out yesterday and I said, no, I'm going to be patient and wait till my stop gets hit. So I am going to be patient with this guy. My puts are out in March expiration. So I'm not really worried about AMD. AMD is gapping into its 20 EMA on the weekly chart and above, slightly above the 100, the 200 on the weekly. So I love the fact that it was kind of sort of closing below the 200 last week, and this week we're gapping up. I don't really like that too much, because then that would mean we're just going to continue on higher. So today, if it continues higher, I'm going to do some damage control. Then that would just mean we are going to do something like this on a weekly chart, come back and do this rather than this and collapse. So I don't really like that too much. So if you are an AMD and we pull back and you have a chance to get out for a little bit less of a loss, or you make up for that loss elsewhere, I would say just watch out for this guy. If it doesn't fade hard enough, then we are toast. I mean, we do not want to close above this candle by any means by the end of this week. So that's just my plan. I'm going to wait and watch for maybe a couple of days, and then we'll see which way it wants to go. A couple of days, as in by the end of this week, I will make sure we do not close above that candle. And if we do, then I will make sure I get out of it or move stops. So today's just going to be one of those interesting days. Hopefully we fade. I don't know. Thomas says, Biden to deliver remarks on inflation at 10. Oh my God. Yay! It's always fun when we have more news events on a trading day. All right, NVIDIA. This, my friends, is actually really, really odd and strong. To me, NVIDIA is one of the strongest tickers out there because, let's look at this real quick. So we are in this channel, and the only thing holding NVIDIA back was this guy, 200 on the daily. We are gapping up above it, and I don't know if you guys remember me saying NVIDIA is one of the stronger tickers out there. I do feel like a pullback is coming on NVIDIA, so it is gapping into some weekly resistance. It's gapping into some other resistance from previous weeks. But I do think at best, NVIDIA is going to do something like this and go higher. So I really, really like this chart for a fade today for a day trade. But in other in other setups, I think I'm gonna look to do some bull put spreads when NVIDIA pulls back down here. I might do some bull put spreads in this range, and hopefully it works out in my favor. I don't think NVIDIA is clearly breaking out, and getting a close above this guy right here would be really, really strong. Close above 200 would be really, really strong on NVIDIA. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. I feel like once it gets here, which it is awfully close, we're going to get some sort of a pullback to retest this trend line and then go higher. So on that pullback, I will definitely look to buy. As long as that pullback doesn't dip below this level, I will look to buy. So we shall see. All right. Let's look at Roblox real quick. And then we got to go look at Tesla too. Tesla is one of the interesting gaps, undoubtedly. So that could get really, really fun. Now, Roblox, guys, is getting ready for explosion in either direction, believe it or not. So, I know it sounds really lame because, I mean, it's Roblox, and what sort of explosion could you really realistically expect? But let's look at these moving averages consolidating. This is a lot of compression on a ticker. Anytime you have moving averages consolidating like this, expect a blast off. It could continue to consolidate for a little bit, but I'm not sure which direction it's going to blast off in, right? So I don't know if it's going to drop and go lower or go higher. I most likely we will have some sort of an explosion on earnings, which is in February. So we have 2 more months to go, 2.5 months to go, roughly that. We shall see. But it is, keep an eye on this guy. It is getting ready for liftoff or crash landing. I don't know. But if if the moving averages get super, super close, that is your cue that it's going to make a move in either direction. All right, let's go look at Tesla. Tesla on the daily looked interesting, really, really interesting at one point when I was looking at it pre-market because it was gapping up above this red candle. That would make it a gap and go. Now, why I like this so much for a gap and go is it closed yesterday at 167. So, it closed all the way down here. No, everybody was just constantly shorting. There was, it's the same exact thing as the Marubozu on SPY, except on the other side, right? So no short sellers were getting out of their position. So Tesla, some short sellers might be trapped in here. And it is one of the heavily, heavily shorted stock. I was listening to the news earlier, and they said Tesla's dropped 25% since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. That's a lot of short selling, you guys. So I think today it could get interesting with this gap and go. Some people might want to get out of it, get out of their position. I think at open, a long on this could surely work. And then comes a fade down. So Will says Meta is a gap and go as well. Let's go look at Meta too. So yeah, keep an eye on Tesla. I think I will look for a bull move rather than a bear move on Tesla. I mean, this is a lot of selling, guys. And some of these guys might want to close out because it is technically a cute little double bottom. I wouldn't be opposed to, let's see what it looks like on the 4-hour chart. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a long on this guy, even as a swing trade. I mean, we're buying it nice and low. I just need to see where my stop needs to go. Or maybe do a bull put spread down here. I don't know. We're buying nice and low today on a pullback and then going higher. For a day trade, I think I will only be looking at a bullish day trade today on Tesla. I don't want to touch a bearish at all. And it's just because of all of these bears being trapped. They're going to want to close out. They're going to get out of their positions, and it's going to be chaos to go bearish on this guy. So that's the only reason. Yeah, and it's a potential double bottom. So yeah, Dave says I like a bull put spread. Yeah, Dave, somewhere down here, I really like it because even on a weekly level, I mean, it's got a lot of support. It is right here on a weekly level. It's at the 200 SMA. It's bounced off once before. Why not do it again with a $200 target? I say that's definitely doable. I wouldn't really necessarily do calls on it. I mean, there's resistance here, but I wouldn't really necessarily do calls on it. I like the bull put spread idea somewhere down here. So this is another support. So yeah, 130 looks pretty good to me. I think this level down here looks pretty good for a bull put spread. We shall see. Either today if we get a pullback or maybe tomorrow, but I like that idea. Here is Amazon. Amazon, we looked at, it is definitely stronger, but it has been one of the weaker bunches, right? So all of these bears are getting out of their position. Here comes Amazon. What we were earlier, we were looking at Tesla and I saw something and I was like, oh, this looks eerily similar. Okay. Here's the daily chart on Tesla. And this is what I mean. When the moving averages consolidate like that, this is what I wanted to show you guys. When they come too close to each other, we have a move in one direction or the other. This is what I wanted to show you guys with Roblox. So just be prepared. I know it looks super zoomed out, but this is, you know, just be prepared for something like this to happen on Roblox, either upwards or downwards. I don't know which way it goes, but it definitely moves in a certain direction. So when the longer term moving averages come together, they kind of sort of explode. So Amazon is, let's see, this is also gapping up, but this, I mean, other than Tesla and Meta, there's no other gap and goes. They're all retest gaps. That to me screams a fade. The Qs aren't exactly fading right now. They're up about 4.3%. Does anybody know at what level they get halted? Is it 7%? Do the futures get halted at 7%? Or the index funds? Or is it 10? I don't know. Or do they even get halted to the upside? I don't think anything gets halted to the upside. I don't know what happened pre-market, but NQ was certainly halted. I mean, I can confirm that. I looked it up. It was there. So anyway, okay. Amazon, I think I would only look for a fade at open, maybe a little bit of a higher move, and then a fade down, perhaps to 91.30 or 91.50. This is a decent level to go long off of. I don't expect like a full retest. And I would be truly shocked if we negate today's move completely. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that Amazon is at a decent level for that fade. So right here, that trend line stands true. Let's put some fibs on this guy. No, I clicked the wrong one, sorry. And then we'll go look at Meta too. And I have the fibs facing the other way, but I just want to see where it's at. in comparison to its extension. All right, so it's gapping up at the 2618 resistance level. So I do like this level to go fade Amazon on, and we're getting closer to opening bell. So, you know, I do think that something like this is going to come into play, where we go make a tiny little green candle. And if we take that green candle out, I would be interested in shorting it down to this level right here. And then I don't know what happens. I don't know if we just bounce off of it or we continue to fade down. So I truly don't know. I don't think we're going to negate the entire move. I think somewhere to here is a good move down. So we'll see. But that's just how I'm going to trade Amazon today. Let's go look at Meta real quick before time runs out. Meta is a gap and go. Yes, this is a gap and go. But I like Tesla's gap and go a lot better because you know, this is a hammer still. I mean, let's say we came all the way down here. The shorts closed out their position. Some new buyers jumped in, and then eventually we closed up over here at the bottom of the hammer body. This guy right here is the product of shorts closing out and new buyers jumping in, right? So clearly it's not as strong of a gap and go as as Tesla, but I still really like this. Meta has been one of those crazy beat down stocks lately. And so I feel like this is definitely a good gap up. If we were to look at continuation, I would like to see some sort of a pullback first. I would like to buy off of the daily 50 right here and then look for some continuation. So yeah, I just don't want to jump in blindly on this guy, only because it's one of those trickier stocks today. 4 hours looks good. It could go all the way up to 130, fill this gap, I think, and then that's where it's going to find resistance. So I like this gap fill range, and it would coincide with this trend line right here. So if it does something like this and comes back down, I wouldn't be opposed to it. So yeah, I like this area a lot to go short. So on Meta, I would be looking for a short around 128, 130 level. Until then, I don't really think anything's super exciting on that just yet. I want to wait for that short level to get hit. So yep, that's what I'm looking for. Let's see what else. I know earlier pre-market Bitcoin was going bananas. And I don't know if you guys trade futures at all on Bitcoin, but I just happened to see that, catch that move, and it was going bananas. And I was like, whoa, this is awesome. But definitely keep an eye on Bitcoin too, guys. This is a lot of bulls jumping in, bears closing out. I think a good fade would be a good level of entry to get in for some long positions. Overall, guys, let's look at SPY and the Qs. Without our bear glasses on or the long-term moving averages on, let's look at this. So overall, this is a double bottom on the daily. Okay, call me silly for calling out this double bottom, but it is there. Also, a lot of people and their moms were expecting this dude to do something like this, fail this area and go lower, and that didn't happen. So now I think the move is validated to go higher, so we shall definitely see which way it goes. YouTube land, unfortunately, this is where I have to end the show. I hope everybody enjoyed the analysis, and if you did, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so